Don't stop, she whispered, her voice filled with determination. We'll figure this out together. Are you tired? Adewale asked, his voice low and gentle. Rumble that sent a shiver down her spine. No, her fingers lingering on its handle as she gathered her courage. I've missed you. Their first attempts at intimacy had been awkward but endearing. Mornike, though confident in many aspects of her life, found herself nervous in the face of Adewale's overwhelming masculinity. He was a man who commanded attention without trying, his body a testament to years of hard labor in the forge. Yet, with her, he was soft-spoken and gentle. You're staring, Adewale teased one night as they lay side by side. His broad chest glistened with a sheen of sweat, his arm draped protectively over her. I can't help it, Mornike admitted with a shy smile. You're perfect. The quiet village of Akit had never seen anyone like Adewale. He arrived one morning, walking into the village square carrying a sack of tools and an aura of mystery. His tall, muscular frame seemed sculpted by the gods themselves, and his smooth ebony skin glistened in the sunlight. The women were the first to notice him. They stopped mid-conversation, their eyes wide as they watched him stride confidently through the marketplace. Who is he? Whispered Saad, a young widow with a sharp tongue. He looks like he was carved from the hardest iron, replied Ayabo, a merchant's wife, fanning herself. But Adewale wasn't interested in the stares or whispers. He went straight to the village chief to request permission to set up a forge. The chief, intrigued by the stranger's skill as a blacksmith, agreed, but he also warned Adewale about the dangers of a small village. Everything you do will be known by everyone. Adewale smiled politely but said little. He was used to being the center of attention, and the rumors. Adewale had left his previous village in shame. He was considered a cursed man because of his unique gift. His manhood was too large, making intimacy with women a painful ordeal. Despite his handsome looks and kind nature, every woman who had been with him had fled, some in tears, others in outright fear. The whispers had turned into shouts, and the women had started warning each other. By the time Adewale left, the entire village had labeled him unworthy of love. In Akit, he hoped to start over, but the women were relentless. They brought broken tools to his forge, leaned in too close when speaking to him, and found excuses to pass by his hut. I'm here to work, he told himself every morning, ignoring their advances. One fateful afternoon, Adewale decided to fetch water from the village stream. He preferred going at midday, when most people avoided the heat. But that day he wasn't alone. Mornike, a curvy, dark-skinned beauty with a glowing afro, stood by the water's edge. She was washing clothes, her laughter echoing as she teased her younger siblings. Adewale stopped in his tracks. Mornike wasn't like the other women. She had a natural confidence that drew him in. You're the blacksmith everyone's talking about, she said boldly, her eyes meeting his. Adewale nodded, unsure of how to respond. You don't talk much, do you? She teased, her smile widening. I like that. From that moment, Adewale found himself drawn to Mornike. She didn't fawn over him like the others, nor did she seem intimidated by his size or strength. Weeks passed, and Adewale and Mornike grew closer. They often met by the stream, sharing stories and laughter. One evening, under the glow of a full moon, Adewale decided to confess his secret. Mornike, there's something you need to know, he began, his voice heavy with emotion. I'm not like other men. Mornike tilted her head, intrigued. Go on. Adewale hesitated. In my last village, the women, they couldn't handle me. My body, my manhood, it's too much. They all ran away. Mornike's eyes widened, but she didn't look away. Instead, she smiled. Is that what you're afraid of? That I'll run too? Adewale nodded, his heart pounding. Mornike stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. You underestimate me, Adewale. I don't scare easily. Their first night together was a mix of passion and trepidation. Mornike, true to her word, didn't shy away from Adewale's size, but it wasn't easy. There were moments of discomfort, moments where Adewale pulled back, afraid he was hurting her. Don't stop, she whispered, her voice filled with determination. We'll figure this out together. Their bond grew stronger after that night, but it wasn't without challenges. The women of the village noticed their closeness and were consumed with jealousy. Saad, who had been rejected by Adewale, led the charge against Mornike. She spread rumors that Adewale was cursed and that Mornike was only with him because of his wealth. They won't last, Saad declared to anyone who would listen. She's just as foolish as the others. Nike confronted Adewale about the rumors one evening. They're trying to tear us apart, she said, her voice trembling. They won't succeed, Adewale replied, holding her close. You're the only one who matters. One night, an elder visited Adewale in a dream. The figure was cloaked in shadows, but its voice was clear. Your gift is not a curse, the elder said, but it must be tamed. Only the love of a true partner can balance its power. When Adewale woke, he was shaken but resolute. He shared the dream with Nike, who believed it was a sign. Together, they sought the elder for guidance, embarking on a journey that would test their love and courage. The elder set them on a path filled with challenges, each designed to test their bond. They faced physical trials, like lifting enchanted objects, and emotional ones, like confronting the fears that had haunted Adewale for years. Through it all, Mornike's unwavering support kept Adewale going. As Adewale and Mornike's love grew stronger, jealousy in the village reached a boiling point. The women who had once thrown themselves at Adewale could not accept that he had chosen Mornike, a chubby, dark-skinned beauty with an afro that seemed to radiate power. They whispered behind her back, mocking her weight, her looks, and even her charm. What does she have that we don't? Saad sneered one afternoon, surrounded by her clique of admirers. She's not even that beautiful. Ayabo spat, her envy palpable. She must have bewitched him. Another chimed in. The women decided to confront Mornike directly, fueled by their collective anger. One afternoon, Mornike was returning from the stream, a basket of freshly washed clothes balanced on her head, when Saad and her group blocked her path. What is it about you, Mornike? Saad hissed, her hands on her hips. Why does he want you and not us? Mornike frowned, lowering her basket to the ground. If you're looking for someone to blame, look at yourselves. Maybe you're not his type. The group gasped at her boldness. Not his type, Ayabo snapped. You think you're better than us? Is it because you pretend to be humble? Or is it something else, something dark and unnatural? Mornike stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. He chose me because I don't throw myself at him like you do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have better things to do than entertain your jealousy. Saad, humiliated, lunged at Mornike, grabbing her arm. But before things escalated, a deep voice interrupted them. Is there a problem here? Adewale's towering frame loomed over the group. The women froze, their faces pale with embarrassment. No problem at all, Saad stammered, releasing Mornike. She and the others scurried away, their tails between their legs. Mornike smiled at Adewale. You didn't have to step in. I protect what's mine, he said simply, his gaze softening as he looked at her. The humiliation of the confrontation only made Saad more determined. If she couldn't have Adewale, she would ruin him. One night, under the cover of darkness, she slipped into his forge. She wore a revealing wrapper that clung to her curves, her hair falling loosely over her shoulders. Adewale was working late, the glow of the fire illuminating his muscled frame. Adewale, she purred, leaning against the doorway. He glanced at her briefly before returning to his work. What do you want, Saad? I came to check on you. You work so hard. Don't you ever need company? She sauntered closer, her eyes roaming over his body. Adewale set down his hammer, his expression unreadable. I don't think you came here for conversation. Saad smiled, thinking she had him. She placed a hand on his arm, letting her fingers trace the muscles. We could have something special, you and I. Mornike doesn't have to know. Adewale's gaze hardened. He removed her hand from his arm gently but firmly. You're wasting your time. I love Mornike. Nothing you do will change that. Saada's smile faltered, her cheeks flushing with anger. She doesn't deserve you. She's nothing compared to me. That's enough, Adewale said, his voice cold. Leave. Now. Saad stormed out, her plan in ruins. But she wasn't done. The next day, Saad spread a new rumor. She told everyone that Adewale had tried to seduce her, and that Mornike wasn't enough for him. The gossip spread like wildfire, and by evening, the entire village was buzzing with the scandal. Mornike heard the whispers at the marketplace. Did you hear what he did to Saad? Someone muttered. I always knew he was too good to be true, another added. Hurt and confused, Mornike confronted Adewale that evening. Why are they saying these things? She asked, her voice trembling. Did something happen between you and Saad? Adewale took her hands, his eyes filled with frustration and pain. You know me, Mornike. I would never betray you. She came to me last night, trying to seduce me. I sent her away. Mornike searched his face for any hint of deceit, but found none. She sighed, her anger dissolving. I believe you. But this village won't let us be. Then we'll make them, Adewale said firmly. Saad, now desperate and humiliated, sought the help of a local herbalist. She wanted a potion to make Adewale fall in love with her or, failing that, to destroy his relationship with Mornike. The herbalist warned her. Love cannot be forced. If you use this potion for harm, it will return to you threefold. But Saad didn't care. She slipped the potion into a gourd of palm wine and brought it to Adewale's forge, pretending to make peace. I'm sorry for everything, she said, offering him the wine. Adewale, wary of her intentions, accepted the gourd but didn't drink. When Saad left, he poured the wine into the fire. The flames erupted violently, turning green for a moment before settling. Adewale knew then that she had tried to bewitch him. Adewale confronted Saad in the marketplace the next day. You tried to poison me, he said, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. The villagers turned to look, their curiosity piqued. I did no such thing. Saad protested, but her voice wavered. Then explain why the fire turned green when I poured out your wine, Adewale challenged. The crowd gasped. The village elder, Mama Ife, stepped forward. Saad, is this true? Saad hesitated, then fell to her knees, sobbing. I just wanted him to love me. Mama Ife shook her head. Love cannot be stolen, child. You've brought shame upon yourself. After the incident, the village began to accept that Adewale and Mornike were meant to be together. The gossip died down, and the couple found peace. Adewale proposed to Mornike in a quiet ceremony by the stream where they first met. You've been my strength, my peace, and my salvation, he said. Will you be my wife? Mornike's eyes filled with tears as she said yes. The days following their wedding were filled with passion and discovery. Adewale and Mornike were finally able to bask in their love without the judgment of the village weighing on them. Or so they thought. Adewale, ever the perfectionist, spent long hours in his forge crafting tools and ornaments for the villagers. Mornike supported him in every way, bringing him meals and sometimes sitting nearby, her presence a calming force amid the heat and clang of metal. At night, their love took on a different rhythm. I'm still afraid, Mornike admitted one evening as they lay together. Your size, it's still a challenge. Adewale brushed a strand of hair from her face, his expression tender. We'll take it slow. Always. I don't want you to hurt. Over time, they learned each other's bodies like a dance. Adewale was patient, ensuring that their moments of intimacy were filled with pleasure, not pain. Mornike, in turn, embraced his size, discovering ways to make their connection even deeper. You're a wonder, she whispered one night, her voice filled with awe. I never thought I could feel this close to someone. You make me whole, Adewale replied, his arms wrapping around her. Though they were happy, the village hadn't entirely let go of its curiosity and jealousy. Saad, the woman who had once tried to seduce Adewale, still harbored resentment. She often watched the couple from afar, her eyes dark with envy. They can't be as happy as they seem, she muttered to Ayabo one afternoon. No man like that could be satisfied with just one woman. The whispers started again, but this time they carried a more dangerous edge. One morning, as Mornike was walking to the marketplace, she was stopped by a woman she barely knew, Amina, a young widow from the neighboring village. Your husband, Amina began, her voice trembling. He got me pregnant. What did you just say? You heard me. Adewale and we were together before your wedding. I didn't know he was going to marry you, Amina said, her hand resting on her stomach. Mornike's world spun. She stared at Amina, searching her face for any sign of deceit. You're lying, she said finally, though her voice wavered. I'm not, Amina insisted. You can ask him yourself. That evening, Mornike stormed into the forge, her heart pounding. Adewale looked up from his work, his face lighting up when he saw her, but his smile faded when he noticed her expression. What's wrong? He asked, setting down his hammer. Did you sleep with Amina? She demanded, her voice shaking with anger. Adewale blinked, confused. Amina? Who's Amina? She claims you got her pregnant, Mornike said, her arms crossed. Adewale's face darkened. That's a lie. I've never been with her, or any woman in this village except you. Are you sure? Mornike pressed, her voice breaking. Because I need to know the truth. Adewale stepped closer, his hands resting gently on her shoulders. I swear on everything I hold dear, Mornike. I have never touched her. You're the only one I've ever wanted. Mornike searched his eyes, her anger softening as she saw the sincerity in them. Then why would she say such a thing? To tear us apart, Adewale said firmly. Because she's jealous of what we have. The accusation spread like wildfire, and the village quickly took sides. Some believed Amina, pointing out that Adewale had always been surrounded by women. Men like him can't be trusted, Saad said smugly. Others defended Adewale, insisting he was too honorable to betray Mornike. It's jealousy, plain and simple, Ayabo said. The tension in the village reached a breaking point when Baba Alyamide called for a meeting to settle the matter. At the meeting, Amina stood before the crowd, her hand on her stomach. I'm telling the truth, she said. Adewale is the father of my child. Baba Alyamide turned to Adewale. Do you deny this? I do, Adewale said, his voice steady. I have never been with her. The elder nodded. Then there is one way to resolve this. He called for the village's seer, a woman known for her ability to uncover lies. She approached Amina and placed her hands on the young woman's head, her eyes glowing faintly as she muttered an incantation. After a long moment, the seer spoke. She lies. The crowd gasped, and Amina burst into tears. I just wanted him to notice me, she sobbed. I thought if I said I was pregnant, he'd leave her for me. Baba Alyamide shook his head. You have brought shame upon yourself and this village. With the truth revealed, Mornike and Adewale's bond grew even stronger. They forgave each other for the doubts that had crept into their hearts and focused on building a future together. I'll never doubt you again, Mornike promised one evening as they lay together. And I'll always protect us, Adewale replied, his arms wrapping around her. Months later, Mornike discovered she was pregnant. The news brought joy not just to the couple but to the entire village, which had finally accepted their love. As their child grew inside her, Adewale doted on Mornike, ensuring she had everything she needed. You've given me everything I've ever wanted, he told her one evening, resting his hand on her growing belly. And you've given me a love I never thought possible, she replied. Adewale and Mornike's story became a testament to the power of love, trust, and resilience. They had faced jealousy, betrayal, and even lies, but their bond had only grown stronger. And as they welcomed their child into the world, a boy with his father's strength and his mother's fearless heart, they knew they had built a legacy that would endure for generations.